Very simple. Everybody gets confused on that. I used to get confused, and I had a epiphany again. You don't want to be inside this head. It's very dangerous. I've been lost in there for years. But these little mnemonics, such as tiny cats need milk, that's what comes out of here. There's no way out. So mandible has an end in mandible. Mandible has a choroid process. Ulna has an end. Ulna has a choroid process. Scapula has a C. Has a choroid process shaped like the letter C. Okay? That's how you know which one has which one. So scapula, so is that. Has a base, has an apex. Who cares?
It's too
All
far
right.
away.
So you have 3 borders and 3 angles. All right. We'll start with the angles. Superior angle on top of the scapula. Inferior angle below the scapula. And again, they don't normally ask this one because it gets confusing as to the other parts that are around it. But there's your lateral angle, where the lateral side is. Lateral angle. Okay. And you have borders. Superior angle is here, but the front part of the superior angle is the superior border. Glenoid cavity, glenoid fossa, whatever they want you to call it, always faces laterally. That's lateral, there's your lateral border, same side. Can't be lateral here and lateral here. So lateral glenoid fossa, lateral border, medial border. At the end of the superior border, if you were sliding down into a swimming pool, you go into the suprascapular notch, or simply scapular notch. Depends on your professor. Okay. This is your spine of your scapula, the whole thing. All right, spine. At the end of the spine is your acromion. Some call it the acromion process. I just call it the acromion. This has an acromial end. It looks like the acromion, same name, and they sit together. This is the opposite. No, they're not. They're the same. No, it's the opposite bones. They're gonna go like that and that. All right, basically. Okay, so acromion process. Also has a root, if you have to know that, the root of the spine. You have spaces above and below the spine and on the anterior portion of the scapula. Okay? Remember these spaces. You're going to have muscles very soon. In your case, in about 6 months, probably you'll get them with bones. In your case, won't
And
even
then the
get
nervous
the muscles,
system
so don't worry
all
about it.
jammed in. Right?
So the space above the spine is simply supra, above, spinous fossa. Supraspinous fossa. Below the spine is the infraspinous fossa. On the front of the scapula is your subscapular fossa. Okay, on the front, not the same side as the spine. All right. Again, if you have to know body, because some people just call this whole thing the infraspinous fossa. If you have to know the body as well, then that's the body and that's the infraspinous fossa. All right, there are 2 separate things. Okay. The muscles going in there, supraspinatus, infraspinatus, subscapularis. So kind of remember these things. Because you will see this on your muscle model. Oh, there's the spine. What were those spaces called? Okay. And this is right left. Again, the glenoid cavity must face outside and the spine must be in the back. Therefore, this is your right scapula. Follows the rules. Going into that is your humerus. The head of anything, even Yahtzee, has to face medially. Alright, head must face medially. Therefore, if that's medial, this has to be medial down here. Get a sticker over here, look for the head. You see it, oh, medial. So the humerus has a head and has 2 necks. An anatomical neck, which is basically this little line right below that there, okay? And after all these bumps is your surgical neck, okay? It also has 2 bumps. The greater anything is behind the head. Head's facing over here, it's facing Alex over there. Right below that, behind it is your greater tubercle. I mean, the greater is generally bigger than the lesser, but on the humerus, some of these bones, they're kind of the same size. When it comes to the femur, it's totally different. So there's your greater tubercle, there's your lesser tubercle medial to that, okay? There's a space between them. Have you stick this in? Again, it has several names. Enter anything is named by what it's entering. intertubercular groove, a groove between your tubercles. Some call it intertubercular sulcus, some call it bicipital groove, same thing. Over here is a bump called the deltoid tuberosity. Deltoid tuberosity. You see a sticker here, look for the groove. If you see the groove, it's a deltoid tuberosity. If you don't, it's the shaft. Okay, that's your landmark. The groove becomes a deltoid tuberosity. Okay. Get down here. There's your head facing medially. There's your medial epicondyle on the same side. It's bigger than the lateral, but it's also on the same side as the head. There's your lateral epicondyle. Epi anything is named by what it's epiing. It's epiing a condyle. These two things are a condyle, one condyle. But you have to know their separate names, not just condyle. This one here is called your trochlea. The word trochlea means pulley. You ever saw a pulley, a rope on a pulley? It's narrow in the middle and wide on the outside, so the rope stays on the pulley. Looks also like a spool of thread. Whatever way it makes you remember it, that's your trochlea. Next to that is your capitulum. Capit means head. It's like a round Charlie Brown head. Capitulum. Trochlea. There are two spaces on the anterior portion of the humerus and one big hole by itself on the back. This is called your coronoid fossa. Coronoid fossa, okay? Next to that is your radial fossa for the head of the radius. On the other side is your olecranon fossa. Olecranon fossa. How do you remember this? Great question, Mo. You're up there with everything. When you go to the drugstore, and she does this quite a lot, so she understands what I'm saying. I'm only kidding. I love picking on Yahtzee. She doesn't come here much. When you go to the pharmacy and you get a prescription, not a prescription, you get medicine. Doesn't require a prescription. It's called over-the-counter medications. OTC, over-the-counter. Olecranon fossa, trochlea, coronoid fossa. Guess what? The same thing applies to this. Alright? So it is your radial fossa. So again, the head of the radius goes over the radial fossa. Pivot joint, if you have to know that such thing. Hinge joint. Okay, the ulna going over the trochlea, okay? And again, head's got to be medial, olecranon fossa has to be on the bottom, therefore this is your left humerus. Your left humerus. So there's the ulna. Big U for ulna. Again, Chris has two of these in his car. He fixes his car with them. Works great.
I have one too.
Okay. Ulna. All right, U for ulna. Olecranon. Now some call olecranon process. I don't. If you have to, too bad. But this is called the coronoid process. And this is your trochlea notch. Oh, OTC again. So OTC over OTC, over the counter. Okay? There's a bump down here that nobody ever asked about because you really can't see it. Alright, it's called the ulnar tuberosity. This one is way bigger and it's always on the test. But it is down there, ulnar tuberosity. You're not getting every bone part of every bone in this test. You may think you are, but you're not. Every long bone has a shaft. There it is. Who cares? It has a head. Has a styloid process on the same side. Head, styloid process on the same side. This little cutout area here is called your radial notch. Again, notch is named by what bone they go into, not what bone they belong to. So radial notch for the head of the radius, okay? Then you get to the radius. Radius has a head, also has a neck. Radial tuberosity is much easier to see. Very big bump there. And over here is your radial, your styloid process of the radius. Styloid process head, opposite sides. Styloid process head on the same side, okay? At the back of your styloid process, there's your ulnar notch for the head of the ulna. This is called an articular surface. Not everybody has to know that. This articulates with your scaphoid and your lunate on your arm, so you know that. So left and right. Very simple. Remember, you always have to make sure your styloid process is facing distally because that's your wrist bones. Okay. There's your bump, radial tuberosity. It must face up. When the radial tuberosity faces up, whatever side your styloid crosses on, that's the arm it's from. Right side, right radius. Outer wrist bone, okay? Ulnar. Again, same deal. U has to face up, styloid crosses distally. When the U is facing up, whatever side the radial notch is on, that's the arm it's from. Again, right side has to face laterally, has to face the radius. Radius has to be the outer arm bone, so that's facing the right, it's your right ulnar. When they go together like that, you got, again, the head of the ulnar going into the ulnar notch, and the head of the radius going to the radial notch. There they are, together side by side. And these are your right bones. And these are your little wrist bones there, okay? Clavicle. I know what it's called. I call it clavicle. Spelled the same way. Now, I was telling people earlier, this bone has 27 parts, not for you guys, but it has 27 parts. To know left or right, all you need is one part. This thing here. I'm not doing this right now. We ain't got it. I'm showing you. This is your auricular surface. Auricular means ear-shaped. This bone sits like this, not like this. So there's your other pelvic bone here. The auricular surface has to be medial and facing somewhat forward, even though it's a posterior part of the bone, it's facing anteriorly. Over here, it's lateral, no good. So this is in the middle, it's your right pelvic bone. This only has 3 parts or 4 parts. They're all going to be lined up properly, no left and right. First part is this here, which is your sternal end. Your sternal end goes into the sternum, sits on your clavicular notch on the sternum. All right, well, that has to be medial. Well, that's medial. It's medial here too. Doesn't tell me anything. Need more information. Your acromial end, okay, which goes to the acromion on the scapula, has to curve forward. Well, it's curving forward here. It's also curving forward here, so that doesn't help me. 3 landmarks, 3 parts. This is your conoid tubercle. Conoid tubercle. This has to be on the bottom. All right. So now, with everything lined up, this is your left clavicle. Sternal end in, acromial end facing out, bump on the bottom, left clavicle. Okay. This also has a costal tuberosity, which is a bump. You get an ID bump on here. Costal tuberosity. Remember, this is going into your sternum, which has costal cartilage. Ribs are your costal bone, so costal tuberosity. Conoid tubercle over here. All right. Last but not least are your lovely hand bones. Again, your hand and your feet both have phalanges. They both have the same names, just so you understand that. But your hand has carpal bones and metacarpal bones. Your foot has tarsal bones and metatarsal bones. You clap with your carpals. You tap with your tarsals. What was your thing?
Driving a car.
Yeah, right.
On the wheel, carpals.
I like that though too, but then
Your foot also does it too, so with the gas, so that might confuse
But how do
you.
you gotta do something with T though? With the,
I know,
with the gas
I
pedal.
couldn't think. You tap on the gas pedal?
Tap
You're
on
going
the
slow?
gas pedal. That I may change it to that. Tap on the gas pedal, drive the car. I tell you,
That's good.
your brain can be as damaged as mine is.
Oh, it is, trust me.
So again, everything starts again anatomical position. Remember that test when it was still like 90 degrees outside?
Yeah.
Thumb has to be on the outside, all right?
Good old days.
Your foot, the toe has to be on the inside. So everything starts on your thumb and going medially on your big toe and going laterally. So that's your first everything. First metacarpal, second, third, fourth, fifth metacarpal. First proximal phalange, first distal phalange. There's no middle phalange on the thumb, and the thumb is also known as the pollex. Trust me, you want to remember that word because the pollicis muscles are right around the corner. Second proximal, second middle, second distal phalange. Very simple. They're named by the finger they're on, not by which number they are. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 proximal, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 distal, and 2, 3, 4, middle. There's no first, middle collision. Okay? Carpal bones. There's 8 of them. 4 on the proximal side, 4 on the distal side. You're going to start on the biggest bone shaped like an S. Not the bone right under your thumb. Biggest bone shaped like an S. This. You're going to go to the pinky and go back to the thumb. You're going to send love to pinky. Here comes the thumb. Scaphoid, lunate. You know I changed it already, see that, right? Scaphoid, lunate, triquetrum, pisiform, send love to pinky. Hamate, capitate, trapezoid, trapezium, here comes the thumb. Alphabetically, D comes before M. Okay? Again, hand bone has, the hamate has the hand bone on it. But what they show you the back of the hand, doesn't matter. There's your thumb. Start the same spot, just go in the opposite direction. There's your biggest bone, still S. Scaphoid, lunate, triquetrum, pisiform. Send love to pinky. Hamate, capitate, trapezoid, trapezium. Here comes the thumb. All right. And remember, these can be 2 fused bones together. They're still not one bone. They're 2 bones. Again, right under your pinky, there is your pisiform right there. Can't miss it. If you're ready to learn the other mnemonic, well, if it works for you, that's fine. But mine is better. Well, actually, ours is better. I give you credit for that.
Oh, thank you.
I always said so long to pinky, but I like send love to pinky better. So that's your upper extremities. Now I'm going to go over much more stuff than you have to know, but too bad.